basically, if you don't know what bacterial vaginosis is, it's an overgrowth of harmful bacteria in your vaginal microbiome. And then this can alter your pH, which your pH is supposed to be between 3.8 and 4.5. But when it goes over that 4.5, you can start to have symptoms like an unusual odor. So it can be like very pungent or fishy, an unusual like greenish, waterish, grayish discharge, itch, irritation.
Welcome to the Empowered Woman Podcast, the #1 show on visibility strategies for women entrepreneurs. If you want to get empowered to be seen, stand out on social media, stages, TV, and more to make an impact with your voice and business, you're in the right place. I'm so glad that you're here. My name is Marcia Spurk, and I'm your host, professional singer and visibility strategist. Welcome again, and let's dive into today's episode. Hi, Daniella. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be on here and to just like talk about women's health and yeah.
Yes, love what you are up to and the amazingness that you have created and built with your business. So why don't you kick us off and tell us who you are and what you do?
Yeah, so my name is Daniella Levy, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Happy V. And Happy V is a women's wellness company that creates different dietary supplements for different issues that women have, specifically vaginal, urinary tract, and gut health related. And it really all stemmed because I had a personal experience with recurrent bacterial vaginosis, which is one of the most common vaginal infections in the world. But I did not know that until I had it. And that's what led me into starting Happy Bee. So I'm excited to dive more into that later on. But yes, that's who Happy Bee is.
Amazing. And I love the name too. It's very self-explanatory.
So it's funny because like there are maybe people like, wait, some people don't get it. So they're like, what does Happy Bee stand for? I'm like, vagina. They're like, oh, okay. Especially guys. I love it when guys.
Okay, that makes sense. They would get it right away. That's funny.
Yeah.
Well, it's amazing that you turned your own personal problem into a solution for women out there, but I'm sure there's so much more to the story, from realizing that there was something else that could be done to help yourself, and then creating the product and launching the product. Oh my gosh, I always say hats off to product-based businesses because they're a whole different monster than services. I mean, everything is tough.
Yeah.
But in my mind, because it's not what I do. So tell us how did that come about?
Yeah, so back when I was in my early 20s, so almost 10 years ago, or 10 years ago, I don't want to give away my age. I started to experience bacterial vaginosis, and I didn't know what it was until I had it. And so basically, if you don't know what bacterial vaginosis is, it's an overgrowth of harmful bacteria in your vaginal microbiome. And then this can alter your pH, which your pH is supposed to be between 3.8 and 4.5. But when it goes over that 4.5, you can start to have symptoms like an unusual odor. So it can be like very pungent or fishy, an unusual like greenish, waterish, grayish discharge, itch, irritation. So not everyone gets all the symptoms, but those are just like the very common symptoms that are associated with bacterial vaginosis. So I was getting all of them, and I was like, what is it going on? What is happening to me? Of course, I went to Dr. Google, and Dr. Google told me that it could be like an STD or an STI. So of course, I got very alarmed, scheduled an appointment with my gynecologist, and went to see her, and ran the test, and they were like, you have bacterial vaginosis. I was like, I still didn't know what it was. So I was like, what is this, an STD? They're like, no, it's just a vaginal infection. It's completely normal. It's very common. A lot of women get it. And they gave me antibiotics. And so just went off on my way home, took my antibiotics. It went away. But after the antibiotics, I got a yeast infection afterwards. And so this spiraled into a 5-year-long battle with bacterial vaginosis. And one of the reasons why it was a very long battle was because traditionally what's available for bacterial vaginosis are antibiotics. So antibiotics, they're great for what they're necessary for, but they eliminate both the bad bacteria that's causing these infections, but also the good bacteria. So it causes a lot of chaos, like in your vaginal microbiome and your gut microbiome. And so then it makes you more susceptible to other infections, like a yeast infection again, a UTI, getting PP again. And So a lot of women that are going through this experience that same exact thing that I did.
Mhm.
And so when I was going to my gynecologist, I was like, are there any other solutions that you can give me? Because I'm taking the antibiotics, they're not really helping me, or like they help me temporarily, but then I get it again. And they were like, no, this is the only way that we treat this infection. So that's when I decided to kind of go on my own journey and try to like figure out what could help me get rid of it for good. So I started going down this path of like trying natural remedies. So like garlic cloves, hydrogen peroxide douches, which you should not be doing, but I didn't know that at the time. And also trying like everything that's advertised for like vaginal odor, like vaginal irritation that you can find at Walgreens and CVS and Amazon. And none of it would work for a long time temporarily. Maybe for the symptom, it would work for a little bit, but then it would come back. So at this point in my life, I had also started to date my partner, Hans, who's now my husband. But one of the issues when it comes to like having this infection is that you do not want to be intimate with your partner because sex can exacerbate the symptoms.
Mhm.
And so that your partner might be like, there's an odor or like there's
Right.
something weird. And then they can get alarmed and be like, is that an STD and STI?
Mhm.
So I was very much like, I'm not going to be intimate with this person that I'm starting to date yet because I need to figure out what's going on. And so after some time, he was like, hey, what's going on here? And then we had to have a sit down and it was very embarrassing. Because nobody really likes to talk about their vaginal health. It's still very taboo, especially with a man.
Right.
So we had to sit down and we had a chat and I was like, look, I have this condition. It's called bacterial vaginosis. I've been dealing with it for a very long time. There is no cure, like there is no long-term solution for it. And I've just kind of been like navigating that area up until this point. And so he was very understanding and it was a serendipitous moment because he was just extremely understanding. I was taken back by that, number one. But number two, he's like, I want to help you. And I'm like, how are you going to help me? So it turns out that his family has been in the dietary supplement manufacturing space, and what that means is that they basically, a brand will go to them and they will say, I want to make probiotics or I want to make a multivitamin, and they will help you create that formula and they will manufacture it for you. They will package it for you and all the way to the point that it goes to like wherever it needs to go to, whether it's a customer or like a retailer. So that was like a whole other world for me. And I was like, oh, okay, let's try it out because I've already tried so many different things. And so what more, what do I have to lose?
Mhm.
So we then started going to the factory together. Like he was showing me all of the behind the scenes of like what goes into making a product. And so I was like learning about that. But at the same time, we had also met with formulators at the factory and naturopathic doctors and scientists and started talking about what was going on. And they were helping me curate a formula for me.
Mhm.
So there was like still no business at this point.
Okay.
And for a year and a half, I was trying different formulas, trying to see like what was going to help me get rid of my BV. And then there was this point where I was like, okay, I haven't had BV in 3 months. And it was the specific formula, and which was our hero product, our Pre-Pro. And I was like, for me, it was just like weight lifted off my shoulders finally, because I was like, oh my God, I'm so excited. I'm so happy. Like I need to share this with other women because I haven't had BV. I haven't had any of the symptoms. And now I was like, I don't know, should we start a business? And they were like, let's look into it. And we started doing more research and seeing that over 21 million women in the US experience BV each year. And so we were like, we could make this into a business, which I had no background in business. So I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, but let's give it a shot. And that's how Happy V was born.
Wow.
So really through this very long journey that I went through, and then meeting my partner, which was like just so like the stars were aligned because
Mhm.
that just doesn't happen.
Right.
To the point that like I, was able to gain my confidence back again and be like okay with my health, my vaginal microbiome, not feeling embarrassed about this anymore. And then just at the end, it was like helping other women. That's really what I wanted to do with this solution.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. What a story.
Yeah,
I love it. And it's a love story too
yeah, it's a love story.
in there. That is so
And
cool.
we're still together and we're like married now and we don't have kids yet, but yeah.
That is so, well, congratulations
Yeah,
on
thank you.
finding somebody that could not only help you, but that was wanting to support you and then starting the business now, which leads me to getting curious about the challenges that you faced. Because again, from the
Mhm.
point of, wow, this formula worked, and then doing the research, and then actually starting a business and manufacturing and putting it out there and having people use it, I'm sure that was a journey too. How long has the business been going for? Tell us more about that part.
So yeah, we're about to hit our 5 years
Wow.
in August.
Yeah.
So we launched the company in 2019 and we were eight. It was just me and him, really me, because he was still working in the factory.
Mhm.
So I was really doing a lot of the behind the scenes in terms of like the marketing. And the way we rolled out the product at first was through Amazon,
Okay.
because we didn't have a website built out yet. So one of the things also that I realized when we got started was just that nothing is ever going to be perfect.
Mm.
And so like I think, and I think just as women, we want everything to be like beautiful, buttoned up with a bow on top. And that's just not how things end up rolling out.
Yeah.
And it's like you wait to that point, you're just going to make yourself very frustrated and like bring yourself down. So when we started, we're like, let's just put up the products on Amazon. We had all the registration. The formula was the one that like I had started taking. We created the label, the packaging, which was also it's changed like 3 or 4 times now. Um, Photography, like literally grabbed one of our friends and was like, and I called up all my girlfriends, like, hey, can you guys be on the photo shoot? Because like I need images for my website. It was so scrappy.
Hmm.
It was really scrappy. And now fast forward to almost 5 years later, we're a team of 13 full time. We work with a lot of agencies. We have over 30,000 customers that are subscribed to our product.
Mm.
So it's definitely been a long, beautiful journey. Like I'm not gonna say it's all like rainbows and butterflies because that's not how a business is built.
Right.
Um, but yeah, it's and like it and now when we started it was with one product and now we have 6 products. So through our customers, we learned that there were other pain like things that they were experiencing.
Mhm.
So like UTIs, digestive problems with food, even women that were going into perimenopause or menopause. So we've also gone down the path of like becoming more of a robust women's health company versus in the beginning we were just like a vaginal health
Yeah.
company.
Mm. Oh my gosh, you said so many awesome things that applies to all businesses, starting with it's not going to be perfect. And if you wait for it
Yeah.
to be perfect, you're probably never going to put it out there. And you're going to
Yeah.
be very, very frustrated and there's going to be bumps in the road. And what I love too is taking information and feedback from your clients to develop new products and offers. Because at times we have ideas, but that's not necessarily what people want or need. So
Right.
listening to your clients and your
Listen to
customers
them. Yes.
is the best thing because they're the ones that are buying and
Yeah.
paying, but for whatever
Yeah.
reason.
Because like you might think that there's something that should be out in the market,
Yeah.
but that could flop or that, you have to listen to your customers. They're your customers for a reason. And if they're coming back to you for a certain product or service, they always had feedback. They always have input. And it's like your market research is right there.
Yeah.
So you don't
Yeah.
have to like really go outside, think outside of the box or like look for new things or different gadgets and this and that because
Yeah.
it's right in front of you.
Mhm. Just take the time to listen
Yeah.
to what they have to say. And they will be the first that will want to say what they think because they're already invested in your brand by being clients that invested anyways financially. So that's the smartest way to go about it.
Let me stop you right here and remind you about my free resource with 30 plus visibility ideas to expand your reach today. Get visible right now. Just go to marchasburke.com/visibility and download and access instantly my 30 plus visibility ideas guide to get you going, man. Get on out there, get on social media, get to speaking and get to networking to really make your brand and your business known.
So you've branched out from just the initial product. How can people find the product now? So you said Amazon, you have your own website.
Yeah, so we did end up launching the website. So we have our website now. It's happyv.com. Like I was saying before, when we first started, we were more of like a niche company, and we only catered to a certain woman because like not everybody experiences bacterial vaginosis or yeast infections, but we all experience something. And I learned a lot about that too through our customers, was like, there's not just one thing that they're going through. There are a multitude of things that could be happening. And then that's how we started to branch out into other areas of women's health and like understanding other ingredients and other products that we could build out for them to like cater to their needs. But on Amazon, we only still sell like our probiotic, and the majority though, like of our other products are on happyv.com.
And then you do have a subscription for that as well. It could be a one-off purchase.
Yeah, so our business model is subscription based, and the reason it's subscription based is because dietary supplements are very different from like a pharmaceutical drug, or like even if you think about skincare or like shampoo, conditioner, it's like you want to try different ones out. Maybe there's one that you use for a specific time of the month, things like that. So supplements, you have to be consistent with it in order for them to work. So it's not like you take it for one day or for 1 week. It's like you're committing to this product, as long as like there are no, like, you're not experiencing side effects, but you're committing to it, and you do have to stick it out for like at least minimum 3 months. And so that's the reason why we did a subscription model, because like I told you in the beginning, when I started testing out the probiotic, it wasn't until like month 3 that I was like, it's been 3 months, I haven't had it. But if I had only said, I'm only going to give this a shot for 1 week, maybe I wouldn't be here right now, because I would have been like, I'm going to give this one up, and I'm not going to do this anymore. And I'm just going to continue to go down like a different path. So with dietary supplements, it's just very important that you're consistent and you try to stay on the same product for a minimum of like 3 to 6 months.
It takes time. And so for our listeners here, you do have a special link and an offer if they want to go and check out the products. Tell us more.
Yes. So if you're interested in checking out our products, go to happyv.com, and then you can get a 15% off using the code empowered15.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. Well, you have given so much brilliant business advice overall by just sharing your story. And this is what I love about doing these interviews, honestly. It's because even though the stories are different and unique, obviously, there is this underlying theme of, I had this in mind, but then it didn't go out that way. Or, fun surprises and sometimes not so fun surprises that happen. And you learn to deal with it, and you grow so much from that. But from the perspective of being in a very specific niche and being in the health industry, what is some specific advice you can give for other people out there that may be wanting to create products as well for that specific industry?
So one, I would say that I'm going to try to take a step back and like put my shoes in somebody that does not have a factory, because I think that that did put me in a very different position. But somebody that maybe is going to get into a product-based business is like doing your research on your manufacturers. There are a lot of shows that you could go to, like conventions that you can go to. So for example, if you wanted to get in, and they're going to be for every industry, you just have to do your research. But if you were trying to get into like maybe the supplement space, there is one called Natural Expo West, which is hosted in Las Vegas every year. I even still go, because you can find manufacturers, you can find ingredient suppliers, you can find packaging suppliers. So a lot of them are there, which is great. And it's like 3 days long, and you get to talk to everybody. And I think like really come with like a lot of questions. The more questions, the more you'll learn and understand how things work. And there's like another expo that's more like CPG focused, so like consumer goods, in the consumer goods space, which is called Next Expo. It's called Natural Expo West also. But yeah, like I think when you're first starting out is just like doing your research. Once you find like a good manufacturer, like developing a relationship with that manufacturer, because it's very important. It's going to help you with like pricing, negotiations. They're going to have like other contacts as well that you could probably tap into. So that's really helpful. And then as far as like the marketing side of things go, so I went to school for marketing, but I taught myself a lot of things. And I think that when you're an entrepreneur, you're a business owner, you end up like teaching yourself a lot of new things. And I think number one, like be curious, like if you don't have that in you and you don't really want to learn, I think that question if you want to go into starting your own business, because there is so much that you don't know right now. And I didn't know this. So like that's why I'm sharing it. But when I started doing the marketing, I took a lot of online courses. I was like going on YouTube, like YouTube University. Oh, like I love YouTube University. I learned a lot of, Facebook ads and how to position your product messaging. Messaging is so important for different consumers, like different demographics. Like it's not a one size fits all. You might think that there's going to be something that works, but like it could flop. And the great thing is that you can A/B test too. You can A/B test emails. You can A/B test like your Facebook ads, your TikTok ads, all of that. But yeah, so I think that if you're going into this world, it's like you're just going to be learning a lot as you go. And there is no, like, if something flops, don't take that as a failure, because I think also like as women, we're like, oh, like that didn't work out. And we like really beat ourselves up about it. And the good thing about it is like, that was a lesson learned. That was a lesson learned, learn from that. Okay, next time, I'm not going to do that. So there were like times that for shipping, for example, like in the beginning, we used to not charge for shipping because we wanted to do better for like our customers. And then we realized, oh, that's really eating into our margins and like that's affecting the economics of the business. And you don't think about all of those things. But I learned through that, that, okay, we need to need to have like a price model and like, how are we going to price every component out? Like and that's where I go back to manufacturers and suppliers, got to go back to that supplier and negotiate this so I can bring it down a little bit more so that I can offer more to my customer. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot.
There's a lot. Well, but you covered it all by saying you have to have it in you to be curious, to be willing to learn. That is the bottom line. Whatever industry you're in, if you're like, I just want to stay the same forever and find the one thing that will work forever, it's just not going to happen, because it's a constant process of learning. As things evolve, things change, the market changes, the marketing processes change, right? Yes. So you have to be willing to learn and really enjoy it. You got to find enjoyment in it.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
you have to enjoy it. You have to be passionate about it. Yeah. And like I said before, not every day is going to be a beautiful day. It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to go as you planned, because it's life and things happen. Exactly. And I think that don't try not to like beat yourself up over it. It's like tomorrow's a new day and I will try better. Yes. Because like I think that that's something that I've struggled with through this, is like every day I'm like, I have my checklist. I have my things that I have to do. I have to review with this person. And sometimes it's not going to go like the way that I'm picturing it. So just try not to beat yourself up.
Yeah. Just be okay with that it's not going to go as planned.
Yeah.
Just roll with it. Well, something else I wanted to touch on that you talked about in the beginning, but I think it's important for us to bring back up when you were telling your story and saying I had to have to sit down with your then boyfriend. Very awkward conversation, especially to have with a man. But that is one of the things that has really been the driver of your business, is opening up these conversations about sexuality, especially about women's sexuality and these conditions. How have you been infusing this mission in the products and in your messaging as well, since that's a part of the mission?
Yes. So this area, is very like taboo, and there's a lot of stigma associated with talking about your vaginal health, not only like just you yourself like being okay like going down there and like looking at your vulva and what's going on down there, but also with girlfriends, with family members, with partners. And so what we've been doing is like honing in on like it's okay. A lot of people experience this, and we're doing that. And so how we're communicating that messaging is through social. So a lot of social content where we like talk about how to approach a partner, how to we'll try to like do videos where we're like as a team and we're just kind of like very candid, like just talking about situations about women's health that each of one of us experience, because it's all different. It's never like not everybody's experience is the same thing, but we're all going through something kind of similar. Yeah. We also write a ton of educational content on our blog, because there are a lot of areas of women's health that there hasn't been a lot of research done on. So we try to like get all of that information, all of that research, and try to make it into digestible content that our readers and our customers like can read and like understand what's going on with their bodies. Like, how do they approach this? How do they go to the doctor? Like, do they come with like these lists of questions? Or, how do you approach the conversation? Because I think that's like the first step is like trying to wrap everything around your head and being like, how am I going to communicate this with whether it's even your own doctor? Because when you go to your doctor, like that also is very intimidating, because even though like they're seeing this every day, you don't think about that. You're thinking about yourself. Mm-hmm. You're like, how do I communicate to them that this makes me feel really uncomfortable, that I feel like I don't have my life, like, because right now this is the only thing that I'm thinking about. Or if you're talking to your partner, like, how do you communicate it in a way that they will see it as like, this is normal, and like they'll want to support you and what you're going through. So we do try to create as much content on social talking about this, and then also just like writing a lot of content on our blog.
That's wonderful. I love that. That is very, very helpful.
And then going on podcasts like this and just talking about it.
Yes, which you're very delightful to listen to. So this is very great. Well, thank you so much for sharing all of that. I do have one more question, which I like to call my $1 million question. And then, as usual, you've usually guests already touch on the answer to the question, but to have a specific answer to my question, just to finish off our conversation. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right, Daniella, what is an empowered woman then?
An empowered woman that's a great question, is a woman walking into any room and like demanding, this is what I need, being okay with like communicating what your needs are, setting boundaries, because I think as women, we are sometimes a bit like we don't know how to communicate that, because we think that we need to like please everybody, and like we always have to have like a certain presence that how we show up. But I think it's like having boundaries, showing up as yourself, demanding what you need, whether it's work, relationship, friendships, and owning that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so good. I love it. Well, thank you so much for sharing your awesome story and your mission and your products with us. I'll be sure
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, of course. I'll be sure to put all the links in the show notes for the website. Do you have a personal Instagram account as well, or whatever?
Yeah, so you can follow me. My Instagram handle is Dani, DANI_Levs, LEVS. Okay. And my TikTok, which is where I post more like women's health content, is it's Daniella Levy.
Awesome. We'll be sure to put those so people can go and check it out. Thank you so much for your time. This was so fun.
Yeah, this is great.
Thanks so much for tuning in today. I hope this episode empowered you. And if you've enjoyed the show, please join the Empowered Woman community on Facebook and share with friends, or leave a review on iTunes so more people can discover this empowering message. Until next time, bye.